house, and the door rips open. He's there. They punch my brother in the face. They throw coffee in his face.
They did?
Yeah, they throw coffee. His face is burning. He's taking his glasses off. They punch him, and my brother says, "Run!"
Really?
Yeah, so I book it out of this building.
Your brother came to the rescue.
Yeah, he saved me.
Welcome to Bootstraps and Battle Scars, the podcast. I'm Chris Shurian, I'm your host, and this is the podcast by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. So the whole point is I bring on people who have done it, who have bootstrapped, who have a few battle scars to show for it. We want to talk to them, get their story, and we want to hear real life stories of what it means to bootstrap and real life stories of what it means to have battle scars. And hopefully the lessons we learned from some of those battle scars. Now, today's guest is Russ Warner.
Yes.
And Russ and I, we've only known each other for a few weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
We
met
were
on
introduced.
A dating site, right?
we met on a dating site, yes. Entrepreneurs.
Yeah, entrepreneur dating site.
Yeah. It's like more like a therapy group, a group
swipe
therapy
left
session.
if you failed at a business.
Yeah.
Swipe right.
That's a good one, actually.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay, swipe left if you failed.
Yeah, swipe right
Swipe
if you
right
haven't yet.
if you haven't yet. Okay, I like it. So I was introduced to you by Wes. Wes, I think, was on the podcast a few weeks ago, and he said, you should have Russ on this podcast because he's got some stories.
We all have good stories.
We all have good stories, yes. Yeah. And one thing that's cool is Russ, among other things, is now the owner, founder, chief bottle washer, toilet cleaner at Ghost Boards.
Yep, Ghost
So
Boards.
they make these cool boards, long boards, short boards? They call them
short boards, long boards,
medium boards,
skateboards, all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that too in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mentioned in the intro that we're just going to talk to you about your entrepreneurial experience. Now you did, this isn't your life's work right here. This isn't something you started 30 years ago.
No,
you were in a whole
I came out of the
industry.
womb and on a skateboard and,
and you're like, this is my
rolled into
calling
life.
in life.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, that would be a good story too, actually, wouldn't it? So I want you told me. We had breakfast a couple days ago or a week ago, whatever, and you share with me some of the lessons you've learned over and over and over again.
And I still don't learn them. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, you were telling me like you started this and you started that and you learned this lesson and I'm like, well, Russ, that's the same thing you did last time. And you're like, yeah, I did. So I want to talk about that a little bit because so first let's do a little personal thing, right?
Okay.
So like where you're from, where you grew up. I want to know a little bit about, your earliest exposure to entrepreneurship, if there was one.
There is. I mean, business was always in my blood. I grew up in this situation that, I don't want anyone else to do, but I'll never change it for myself or want it ever changed. I grew up in elementary school. I started my first business.
And where was this?
In Sandy, Utah.
Sandy, Utah. Okay.
Yeah, I was living with my mom and two sisters, brother. Parents were divorced. My mom would leave the house at 6 a.m., come home at 11 o'clock at night, so we had to kind of figure out.
So working. She was going out working, supporting the family.
Yeah, she'd work 2 jobs, and so we'd wake up saying, okay, this is what life is. This is what you do. And so if we wanted food, we had to figure out, all right, how do you earn money to get food? If you want a pair of pants, how do you figure out to do it? So
your mom was really, how many kids?
Yeah, there's 4 of us.
And your mom was working just to keep a roof over your head.
Yeah, and she moved in Sandy into this really, it would say rich neighborhood, or it was just, regular neighborhood, because she wanted me to be exposed to other kids and what parents did and opportunities for us. So she goes, I can't afford to live here, but I want you to be surrounded with entrepreneurs and other people that grow
people
businesses.
Are living life that maybe would be a good example or influence.
It could be that.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have a lot of respect for my mom for that, of the sacrifice she did to kind of show us what we could become.
Yeah.
So in elementary school, I did everything. I collected cans. So I had lots of cans in the garage, smash them, put them in
and go
bags
recycle
and go recycle them.
Yeah.
I did newspapers, and then I started a candy company. So And
what grade are you in?
This is probably 5th and 6th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would get these molds for suckers and learned how to make suckers.
You were making the candy?
Yeah. So I'd make all the suckers, started buying molds, and then I got into chocolates and started
Well,
making.
how did you know how to make
molds.
suckers and
It
chocolates?
was from a friend's mom. So one day I was over there and she was making chocolates and asked her, where do you buy the chocolate? Where do you get the molds? And she's like, oh, go down to Gigi's. And you can buy these molds and suckers and flavors. And so I started buying some from my canned money and my newspaper money.
Yeah.
And then I started going door to door selling chocolates and
Homemade.
suckers. Yeah, all homemade. I'd wrap them and make them look nice. And then I got into St. Mark's Hospital. They started buying them from me. So here I am, an elementary school kid selling candy to a hospital.
Unlike an adult selling candy out of a white van
Yeah.
to kids on the street.
Yeah. I would
was the
chase those.
opposite.
I would chase those vans, and it says, free candy. Come get in my van, and
Yeah.
they would speed away too fast from me.
Yeah.
So I would have jumped in one of those.
Yeah.
If
Need
they-
some
yeah.
inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free candy, jump in.
Yeah.
And now today, if it says tacos, I'll probably still get in the white van.
Yeah. Jump in. Tacos.
Yeah, where I'm all in.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you pull up in the white van, that could
I'm
be our
in.
new business. Yeah.
A unmarked white van.
Yeah, with
Okay.
no windows.
I'll let
just
you
says
be in
free
charge
tacos.
of that. Yeah. Okay, so you're selling candy.
Yeah, door to door and the hospital.
Yeah.
And I'm really busy. I'm up till midnight every day because I've got now molds for Christmas, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's
Oh, so you're
Day.
buying molds.
Yeah,
So
and
you're figuring this out.
I'm
yeah.
figuring this out. Easter, I got Easter bunny chocolates. I've got everything. And I'm working till midnight now every day.
And you're still buying all your own supplies.
Yep.
You're cooking it up, making it up. Okay.
Melting it on the stove and then filling the molds and doing everything
Wow.
and wrapping it up. And I got really busy doing this. So this
Are you making any money?
Yeah. Oh, I was buying clothes. I had clothes. I had food now to eat.
Were you feeding the family, like feeding your siblings?
Yeah, I was trying to buy a bike and a skateboard. And so
Okay.
this gave me kind of a lifestyle to, I guess, keep up with the neighbor kids. Now I could have a few things. Because I was one of those kids. I mean, one day I was out sleeping outside on the grass, like, on the trampoline, like everybody does as a young kid. And a dog stole one of my shoes. And so I had two pairs of shoes. So then I got to wear one purple Converse and one green. And then the next day I'd wear one green. And, yeah.
Because a dog took your shoe.
Yeah, I took one of my shoes.
So
but I decided to start.
But that was probably your start of fad.
Yeah, I
People were
did,
probably
yeah.
like, ooh, I want to be like Russ. And
Yeah, even
where-
though they just don't know that, hey, I didn't want to throw away one shoe.
Right.
It was still valuable to me.
yeah.
So yeah, my entrepreneurship started young, mowing lawns, shoveling walks, doing chocolates, doing candy, everything I could until I got to the age where I could get a real job at 16.
Okay.
And then at 16, I decided to be like my mom, so I would take work release, take 2 classes, so I'd be out of school by 10:30. 11, I'd go work at a chemical factory until 5, and then I'd go work at a restaurant until midnight.
Really?
So, yeah. So every day was 11 to 5, and then 6 to midnight. And that was my life.
And still get up and go to school in the morning.
Yeah.
So you're
somewhat.
but they give you some credit.
Yeah, you get
go get
school
work
credit for the
experience.
work
Yeah.
release. Yes.
Wow.
So, yeah, then I got to go buy a car and take care of myself and be able to do the things that I wanted to do.
So you became an entrepreneur out of necessity because
Yeah.
if you didn't do this, you didn't have money to.
There was no safety net or no
Yeah.
money for anything.
So you figured I'm going to go make money. I'm going to go figure it out.
Yeah, I can eat the food from the DI and the canned, that you got for
Yeah.
free.
Uh-huh.
Or you can actually go to Taco Bell or 7-Eleven once in a while and get a big gulp and a hot dog.
And $1 hot dog or what,
Yeah.
25. Well, I think back then we used to go
25 cents
to
at
go to
D's.
Maverick and you could get like 25-cent hot dogs.
Yes.
And they had these specials where if you bought a big 32 ouncer, you got a 10-cent hot dog or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that in college. It was awesome.
Yeah, well, jumping over to college, so it was really interesting. So when I was in high school, I probably wasn't the best kid. I was skateboarding, got a mohawk when I was 12.
Oh, that kid.
Yeah, I was that kid.
Uh-huh.
I was, and
You'll never amount to anything.
yeah, but the neighbors did a really good job, almost kind of raising me too. So I had a lot of neighbors that would watch out for me, try to take care of me, see what I'm up to,
Uh-huh.
and buy me a bowling ball so I could go do bowling and just do different things. So I had a lot of good friends, a lot of
Bought
good
you
neighbors.
a bowling ball?
Yeah, I got a pink bowling ball.
Okay,
Yeah,
when I'm thinking about doing things for the neighbor kids, I'm not sure buying them a bowling ball is really high on the list, but you learn
one
something
stuck
every day.
out. That one stuck out to me.
I might go
It-
buy
it
someone a
meant-
bowling ball.
It meant a lot to me to
Yeah.
have this bowling ball was given to me, from
Yeah.
one of my friend's moms. So
That's cool.
she would pay for me to go do bowling, with her son, and
Yeah,
so I was on
which was good. Kept you off the street, kept
Yeah.
you doing something.
if I wasn't skateboarding or riding my my dirt bike.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just kind of like that. And then through high school, me and my mom got in a little bit of a fight my senior year, and she kicked me out of the house. So then I was
Because,
long
besides
sto-
you're a Mohawk
yeah,
punk.
no, it was mostly not knowing what I was doing. I think she was upset. I think she was stressed over my sister, what she was doing with her life, and
Mm-hmm.
other things going on. And I was probably just a smart aleck teenager. So
With
I
a bowling
said,
ball?
yeah. So I said, fine, I'll move out. And my brother was up at college, living in an apartment, so I went and moved in with him. With
Okay.
him and his friend. They were living in this west side by the railroads in Midvale,
Ooh.
yeah,
Yeah.
rough part.
Yeah, it's right there
yeah.
in Taylorsville,
Yeah.
Kearns.
Yeah, it was a rough part of
Yeah.
living in this hood in an apartment, and I got to learn the life of living in an apartment.
And you're still in high school.
Yeah.
So you're still going to high school.
Yeah, still working
going to
the
the
jobs.
works, the jobs. Okay. Now, what happened to your candy business?
It slowly faded out when I got into high school.
Okay.
And, through junior high, slowly diminished it.
And then once you got a job,
yeah,
you got a job.
yeah, then I had this job of making the $3.25 and an
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah. But you didn't have to make.
Yeah, I got up to $4.50, I think. So
Yeah, nice.
It was good life. And then I learned a little bit more survival skills. So we learned my brother's roommate, or I guess my roommate, worked at a gas station, and we learned that they throw out all the food that expires that day, so we could go eat anything that they're going to throw out that day. So we had like 2-3 days for the milk.
So you didn't have to dig it out of the trash.
No,
But
he'd
because he
say,
worked there, he's like, here's the stuff
all
I'm
the
going to
stuff
throw
we're
away.
going to throw away. So we got to pick up a lot of great food. Yeah.
And day old.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. If the milk doesn't
that's
stink,
all
it's still
it was.
good.
Yeah, then we just smell it. Like,
Yeah,
nope,
yeah.
that one's gone.
Yeah, but if
this
there's
one we can do.
nothing growing on it, you can still eat it.
Yeah, then we made friends with all the workers at this Dairy Queen down the street, and so they took us in, so we could go there if we were hungry and go back and make our own chicken sandwiches, cook our own fries, make ourselves a shake. So we kind of lived at the Dairy Queen. That was
Really?
kind of our pantry.
Good old Dairy Queen, yeah.
Yeah, they kind of saved us. I mean, they were kind of the food source for us.
Yeah.
So between the gas station and that's what kept us going.
Okay, so you're living with your brother and his roommate,
Yep.
living out of gas stations in Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Working 2 jobs.
Working the 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Okay, then what happens next? So getting kicked out wasn't a bad thing. You just adapted and went
I
for
just
it.
adapted and said, this is what life is.
Yeah,
I'll just
yeah.
do what I need to
But
do.
you're already pretty self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew how to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the most important thing, without stealing or, doing something you shouldn't be doing.
Did you take your bowling ball with you to your brother's house?
No, I probably should have.
You should have,
Yeah,
yeah, you
I
should have.
outgrew it. It was for when I was 10. But
I'm going to buy you a bowling ball. What color was it? Pink?
Pink.
I'm
It was
gonna do
a
it.
pink bowling ball.
Yeah.
That was like one of the one gifts that,
That's an awesome gift.
Yeah, I still remember.
Because at least it was something, right?
Yeah.
And you're just the kid down the street. That's
Yep.
awesome. Yeah, I love it.
And then I turned 19, and my boss came to me and says, "Hey, do you want to go on a church mission?" And
Which boss? The
the chemical company.
chemical company, okay.
Yeah, so he kind of took me under my wing too, and really took
Or
care
under
of me.
his wing?
Yeah,
He
under
took
his
you
wing.
under his wing.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And
but he didn't give you a bowling ball.
No, but he gave me about everything else.
Yeah.
He let me kind of run the warehouse, make the chemicals, and
Because you were also capable.
yeah,
You
I
were
was
doing it.
available, and he knew I'd
And
show up
like
every
any
day.
boss, he's like, give you more because you're going to
Yeah.
handle it. And he's paying you big money.
Yeah, I'm making $4.50 to $4.75 an hour,
Yeah, uh-huh.
and it was good. And he says, if you ever want to go on a church mission, I'll pay for it. I said, well, I don't know what that is.
Were you not a member of the LDS church?
I was, but I got kicked out of church when I had the mohawk.
Of course.
Yeah, they didn't want me to show up
were that
and
kid,
pass
yeah.
the sacrament with a
Yeah.
mohawk.
So you weren't active, you weren't involved,
You
you
know,
weren't.
I started to get a little bit. You know, I had a friend that said, "Hey, you gotta come. They have Snickers and donuts." You know,
How can you go wrong?
yeah, I was like, I'm in.
I remember the first
You
time
know,
I got.
it's like the van pulled up, said free taco, you know, free candy. I was like,
The
all right.
first time I got invited to an LDS church.
Yeah.
They said that they were going to take me to the steak center.
You thought you were gonna get
And
a
I'm
steak.
like, the steak center?
Oh,
Well, how could
medium
let's
rare-
go to the
is that
steak
medium
center.
rare?
Yeah, there was no steak, no steak
Yeah.
at all. Yeah. Anyways,
So, I mean, I was kind of involved going to church, but not really. I didn't really know a whole lot. Just kind of winging it, I think, through it. And I said, why not? Why not go? And I don't know why I even did that. I just said, sure. And I drove myself, and I did. I had hair down to here, and I had a Marlboro T-shirt.
course.
And I got this call to go to California, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And
so
I
you started
show
going
up,
to church.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
met with the church leaders. You
Yeah,
said,
they
"Oh, it's time for me to go on a mission."
and they said, sure, let's
And-
do it.
and they were excited.
Let's get this kid something.
Right. So they prepare you.
So-
You send in your
somewhat,
application.
yeah.
And then you got a call from the church going to California.
Well, I got this letter in the mail,
Hmm.
and I swung. My dad's like, hey, just go deer hunting. And I'm like, okay. I go, hey, let me swing by my mom's house. I think there's some mail there for me. I go there, and I read it just by myself. Oh, okay, I'm going to California.
A fish. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, there's no one around.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
No big to do. No big
Yeah.
performance. What mission? Where did you get called to?
Riverside, California.
Oh, nice area. Nice part of
Yeah, like
California.
Pomona.
No beach.
Yeah, Pomona.
No beach.
You know, the
Yeah.
Bronx, the
That is
rough
kinda-
part.
Yeah. That's an area.
Yeah,
okay.
it's an area.
And you had no idea though, because
Yeah.
you're a Utah kid.
Yeah, I
You
didn't
know anything about California.
A little bit. I went and spent a summer in Carlsbad when I was 14. My sister lived down there, and my mom.
That's down by San Diego.
Yeah,
Close to the beach.
She shipped me off to down
Yeah.
there to get out of the house. So I'd ride my skateboard, go surfing every day, and
Yeah.
so I knew.
That's not Pomona.
Yeah, I knew Carlsbad. Yeah, I knew
It's totally
Oceanside.
different. Yeah,
a little bit different.
A little different. Yeah.
Yeah, I was cleaning office buildings that summer, you
Yeah.
know, at nights, and a little different. Yeah, I get to California, and I'm trying to figure out what am I doing and who am I, and I had to figure it out like real quick. So it was an experience.
Yeah.
You know, I get back, and I asked my dad, can I come live with him? And he said, yeah.
So the 2 years, you spent 2 years in
Yeah.
California, had all kinds of crazy experiences. That's
Crazy
probably a whole nother
experiences. Yeah, whole
discussion.
nother-
Right.
yeah.
But it's a great experience.
Oh, great experience.
I mean, you learn how to work.
Yeah.
You learn how to get on with people. I mean, you learn
how to
so much.
how to knock doors, how to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
doors slammed in your face,
Yeah,
and
how to be-
and
failure. You learn
guns,
failure.
guns pulled
Yeah,
out
yeah.
on you. I
So,
mean,
yeah,
everything. You're
yeah.
like, oh, this is a little bit different.
Yeah.
You're like, this is wild
It's
out
a thing.
here.
Yeah, it's a thing.
And I was there during like 90 to 92, and it was right when the Rodney King
Oh, the
beating
riots
too. And
down
there's
in LA,
riots, and we
yeah.
weren't allowed to go out at night. There were sirens you heard every day, gunshots you heard every day. You're like,
And you were
"Whew."
still miles away from that area, but that
Yeah,
whole
it
thing
all
was bad.
embraced, all of
Yeah,
that.
that whole thing was bad. Yeah.
All of the LA kind of
Yeah.
came in, and your eyes are opening because you lived in this Utah bubble,
Yeah.
and you go out there, you're like, wow, there's a lot in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get home
I
from
get home.
California.
Yeah, I moved in with my dad,
Uh-huh.
and I decided to jump right back in. I went back to that chemical company, and they said, we replaced you, with another guy.
But the guy paid for your mission.
Yeah.
Okay, which
and,
was cool.
And he says, you can have a job, Russ. And the guy that had my job, he was so paranoid that I was coming back because he all heard what I did, how much, I had these records of who could mix the most chemicals, who could ship the most,
Yeah,
he had heard all the rumors about me. And so I went in, and it was like this confrontation. Like he was thinking I was
nervous.
coming for his job. And
Gosh,
this
is funny. I have a very
and
similar
this is
story.
this is his life.
Yeah.
And this is where
Because he's not a
deserved.
teenager.
Yeah,
He's
and,
a guy.
And my boss is like, Russ, this is this guy's life. He's going to be here forever. You're not.
Yeah.
He goes, why don't you go to college? Why don't you go do something else? And I'm like, no, if you pay me $30,000 a year, I'll
be your
here.
guy.
I'll be your guy. He's like, Russ, no, you're more than $30,000. But back then I'm thinking, man, $3,000, I could It's more than I've ever made in my life. I just spent 2 years living off $150 a month,
Yeah.
So he did the right thing. So I actually went to go work for another chemical company.
This guy, do you keep in touch with him?
Not as much as I should. I need to, for a long time I did. I'd go see his business. They sold it, and there's 3 brothers that owned it. And so I'll run in. I'm still friends with like one of the sons and talk to him. So yeah, they're still really part of my life. The Hanks brothers, kind of changed my life. They always would keep me on track and, took good care of me.
That's cool.
In the workforce, and taught me how to work hard too.
And gave you some opportunity, like the whole mission experience.
Yeah, just everything.
Yeah,
I mean, they're truly great guys.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then I work for another chemical company, and while I'm working for this other one, I'm making all their formulas, coming up with all the solutions, and they just drop me in this warehouse, and I'm running. I'm thinking, why don't I just go open up my own chemical company?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so because I'm like, I made all the formulas, and
You've
one
already
day,
made suckers, just like making suckers.
Yeah. So my brother's like, here, I'll help you. Just go get an LLC. Why don't you start it? So I started this company called Global Chemicals. I'm like,
Global Chemicals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Global Chemicals, and so I was thinking big.
That is big.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, it's global.
And I'm in college too, and I'm like, hey, I could do this. And they found out that I started this chemical company somehow.
Your employer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because I hadn't quite, made it yet. There's been no sales yet. I got a logo, and I got
You're on your way. That's all you need is a logo, yeah.
And he calls me in to their corporate office, which is downtown Salt Lake.
And are they a pretty big company?
I don't think they were that big. It was a little warehouse. It was me and one other employee, but they had a whole bunch of telemarketers selling the chemicals in this KSL building. It was like downtown Salt Lake by the Delta Center.
Yeah.
And I was shipping out a lot. I was probably shipping out 100, 200, boxes a day and mixing all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Going to college and trying to do it. So they called me in and they say, hey, I want you to bring up all the formulas so we have a copy of them here. And I kind of knew what was going on. I'm like, okay, they know. So I get in there, and there are attorneys there, and they lock me in a room.
Oh.
Yeah, they take me in this room.
And you're like a 21, 22-year-old kid.
And they're threatening me, like, I'm going to take your mom's house, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to come after you, and you're going to go to jail. And I'm just like staring, like, oh my gosh, I haven't done anything yet.
Yeah.
And you better give us all the formulas. And I'm like, so I make up, well, I think my brother has them. So I call my brother. They let me have a phone call. It's almost like I get one call. I'm in there, like scary. Like they locked me in a room.
Wow.
And so I call my brother. I go, Troy, I'm in a bind. I'm up at this chemical place. They got me locked in a room. They want the formulas. He goes, where are you? And I tell him. So he comes in there. All of a sudden, the door rips open. He's there. They punch my brother in the face. They throw coffee in his face.
They did?
Yeah, they throw coffee. His face is burning. He's taking his glasses off. They punch him. And my brother says, run.
Really?
Yeah, so I book it out of this building.
Your brother came to the rescue.
Yeah, he saved me. And we run out. I find a payphone. I called 911. And I'm like, this is what happened. They hold me hostage here. And the cops never came. So,
right, because the cops called the company and they're like, no, everything's fine.
Yeah. So that was the end of my chemical world.
Global Chemical was done.
Global Chemicals was done. And then I had a friend that said, hey, do you want to start a lawn care business with me? And I said, sure. That sounds easy. We get a lawnmower, right?
Yeah, a lawnmower.
Yeah, and
an
edger and a trimmer and a trailer.
Anyone can do that.
Yeah, and I said, I'm in. So we started this lawn care business together, Wasatch Lawn and Yard Care.
Okay, so back to the chemical thing.
Yeah.
Like, they were worried that you were going to take their formulas and just start selling them or something? Is that what they were worried about?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. They're strange guys.
It was weird.
Yeah, the whole thing was weird. They would give me a pager. They would call me only just to call to check in to make sure I was at the warehouse. So you had to answer the phone. It rang because it's, oh, yeah, we're just checking to make sure you're there. Doing the job. So it was like this.
And how long did you work for those guys?
Maybe a year or less, maybe 9 months. And because I already knew how to mix chemicals, I think that's why they liked me. I already knew a lot of formulas
Oh, because you came from the other
from
place,
another
yeah.
chemical company
yeah.
for 4 years. I
Yeah.
worked, so I knew
Yeah, you weren't.
how to do it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so now you're going to start a lawn care
Well,
business.
yeah. And so here I am in, young 20s. And so we start putting a little ad in the newspaper, lawn care. That's what you did. Phone would ring. So we started building up a couple accounts. We had like 20 accounts between me and my friend. And the work ethic between me and my friend were so different. I looked at the lawn and like, okay, we're charging $25 to mow this. We have to be in and out in 20 minutes, to make
so you're
money
doing
to
the
do
math.
this. Yeah, I'm trying to do the math like, hey, gas costs this, transportation, to get to the next job. And he was this perfectionist. He was out there like with a tape measure, measuring the, blade of grass. Like, he's really detailed. And I'm like, like, Chad, if we can't be in and out of this, it's not worth the money, and we need to look at bigger accounts. We need commercial, and I was thinking a lot bigger and how to speed through this. If one account's in Sandy and one's in Midvale, no, we need Tuesday to be Sandy, Wednesday to be Midvale. And I said, let me just buy you out. I just want to do this. So I did. I bought him out, and I decided to grow it big. So I had like 77 lawns the first year, and I hired my sister and my cousin. I had 2 trucks running, and still trying to go to college too, and then I decided, what do I do at night? So let's go get a night job. So I was waiting tables at Red Robin till midnight and earning commission. So it sells. It's the same.
Yeah.
So lawn care, Red Robin, college. You could probably wonder how my grades were, not the best.
Yeah, but you're paying your way.
Yeah, and then I get to this point, my dad decides to kick me out. He says, well, you're 25, you shouldn't be living at home anymore, so you need to get out. So I'm like, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Just no other reason than time to go.
Time to go. You're old enough you're not taking college serious, you're not doing anything, not doing what I think you should be doing, basically.
Yeah.
So but also I was working part-time for my dad too. He started a dumpster business. So I was running dump trucks too, like in the winter when I wasn't doing lawns. So I was dropping off containers at construction sites, picking them up, running to the dump, 10, 12 times a day during the winters. So I was helping him with his business. And then I decided okay, if this is it, I got to go figure out where I'm going to live. So I went and bought a house in Holiday. So I'm like, here's this old 1903 house on a half acre. And it's a cool little house. So I bought it. And my brother came to me and says, all right, Russ, you need to grow up and get a real job and stop driving a Jeep with no doors and no shirt and, go get a corporate job.
Yeah.
And he was in the mortgage business. And he goes, you need a white shirt and tie, job. And I go, okay. So I sold the lawn care business. And so I really had a little bit of reserves. And I had a couple months of reserves, basically. And I'm like, okay, what do I do a mortgage? He goes, all right, here's a phone book. And here's 1,000 business cards. He goes, go through 1,000 business cards a month and start with the letter A and start calling people in the phone book and ask them if they want to buy a house or refinance.
That's the good old days, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
This is in the 90s, the mid-90s now?
Yeah, this is, 95.
95.
96.
And cold calling.
So, rates had just dropped in mortgages from high 8s to 7s. They were like 7.75, actually, what I was selling. 7.75, 7.5.
Yeah.
So I started with A's, and my first 50 loans I ever closed all started with the last name of A. So I just call them up, hey.
Right, because you had good timing with the interest rates
dropping.
dropping.
It was
so
good timing.
Wants to
So all
refinance.
I had to do is call people and take this application, and you make a couple $1,000s of doing a loan. You're like, okay, this is great.
Yeah.
So I turned my house into an office, and I hired one of my friends from Red Robin. He had his desk in the front room. There was a couch, and then my desk in the front room. The kitchen had a copier and a fax machine. The back bedroom had another desk for a processor, another loan officer. So I just hired a couple of people. My brother helped kind of set it up. He was kind of my silent partner on it. He's
Okay.
like, all right, he goes, I'll own 75%, you own 25%, but I'll help you put it together.
This is what he said?
Yeah.
So he's going to own 75%
Yeah,
to help you start your own
do all,
company.
yeah, to do all the work. Yeah.
He's so generous.
Yes.
And no bowling ball.
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
for 75%, he should have given you a bowling ball.
I know. At least give me something.
Something.
So,
That's a good
but he did give me more. I'll explain that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I do respect what he did. So I got up and going. I started doing really, really well in the mortgage business. And then he did drop my wife off at my house and said, he goes, hey, Russ, this is Sarah. She works down at this other mortgage company. She's like, Sarah, this is my brother, Russ. You need to work for him. And drove off and left her at my house. And I had this house. I didn't even have I'm a guy, so I didn't even get blinds on a house. Like,
Were you
why?
living in the house?
Yeah.
Where?
One of the bedrooms.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had one bedroom closed off to everybody else.
so the commute was really not bad.
Yeah, I just was there, and
Yeah.
and I didn't even have blinds, so I'm wearing my sunglasses inside the house because the sun was coming through. I'm like,
That's a better solution.
yeah, it was a better
Put
solution.
sunglasses on.
Just-
You can put clothes on.
Yeah, just
You
put
can put blinds
sunglasses
on, or
on.
you can just put sunglasses
Yeah,
on.
but blinds seemed like it was a process. You have to go buy them,
Oh,
measure.
yeah. Totally, yeah.
Yeah, why have blinds?
Yeah.
And the house sat so far back is on a half acre, so
Yeah. Nice area, big trees
pine
probably.
tree, yeah, huge trees, 100
Okay.
years old, and so no one sees me anyway in there, but
Yeah.
the sun did. The sun
Yeah,
could get
yeah.
through. So she's like, okay, so she started working, for me, and that's how. So he did give me my wife,
And did he
in
give
a way.
you 100%, or did he keep like 75% of that?
So he was going through a divorce, and his wife. I said, this isn't fair. We need to, fix this ownership part, and we kind of dissolved that little business name and things like that. I became a net branch of a bigger corporation company.
Okay.
So they kind of purchased me in a way without any money, but I kind of got out of now having 100% ownership of my branch.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so
But when you and your brother started that company, were you just representing one bank of sorts?
yeah,
One
I
lender?
was a mortgage broker, so I could broker out to anywhere, but then he could take, if there was cash, he could
Right.
take more money than I
And
could
then,
out of
then the
it.
transition was you went to work for a lender as
Yeah, a
in-house.
lender, all in-house with
Okay.
underwriters, and
So a little different
they were
approach.
one of who I was brokering a lot of loans to, so they already knew who I was,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and so it all worked out between me and Troy. We're still really close.
Did he
and
stay in the mortgage business too?
He's still in it today. He owns
he
his
is?
own mortgage company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it worked out. I'm still 100% commission. I mean, I mostly have always been self-employed except for the chemical companies,
Yeah.
that paid me,
Yeah.
the wage. Other than that, it's always been commissioned. Everything.
So
I've
even
kinda
when
been.
you went to work for this other, when you transitioned out of your arrangement with Troy,
Yep.
it was still commission
Yeah,
based.
100% commission.
100% commission. So you
Yeah,
still
I
had to hustle.
I still pay all my own overhead and still hustle, and you make a spread on what you charge.
And still we're operating out of the house?
Yeah.
Okay. The
Yeah.
world headquarters. What was this? What was your company called then? Or
Well,
you became part of
I
that.
became
other-
part of Security National.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so I
big lender,
Yeah, big lender.
big life insurance company.
Yep, that's what
Okay.
they are.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the vice president of that company came to me and said, "Hey, Russ," her name's Linda Richardson. It's like, why don't you leave the retail? That was called retail. I was working direct to consumers, and I was a redheaded stepchild. They had 2 retail branches, but 90% of their business was wholesale, of getting business from mortgage brokers. And she goes, "You're never going to be treated right being retail here. They don't want retail. You're never going to
No.
get what you want." She goes,
Okay. They wanted.
"They want to be wholesale."
Wholesale.
Yeah, because
So-
less risk.
Yeah. Okay.
And so she goes, so this time, right before all that, I did move I did leave the house. I sold that house to get married. We did move all of operations into their corporate office. So I took up one of the floors, the 3rd floor, hired like 20 guys and had a full operation going. And it was going really well. And then Linda says, "Why don't you leave that behind and come do wholesale with me?" So I didn't know what I was getting into, and I didn't know wholesale that well, but she goes, Let me train you. Let me teach you everything.
What happened to all the guys you hired to support you?
I turned them over to one of the guys that was working there. So actually, at that time, my brother was working for me at that time. So he came to work for that team that I had. But I didn't turn the team over to him. I turned it over to another guy.
Okay.
It's actually ironic. Now, that guy actually works for my brother today.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's all come around.
Yeah. So now you jump into the wholesale side.
Yeah, I jump into the wholesale, and I'm a gut and fix guy. So Linda said, all right, Russ, Colorado's felling. It's losing money. I need to go out there. We're going to fire everybody, rehire all new people, gut and fix it.
Because the office just wasn't performing.
Yeah, it wasn't performing.
So they sent you were that guy.
Yeah, I was that guy. And I did that for a long time. So I gut and fix Colorado, gut and fix Arizona, gut and fix Texas. So if you saw me coming for the first time, it was never a good thing. I was the guy that had to go in there, and she says, don't come back until it's fixed, basically. Wow. So I'd be on an airplane Tuesday to Fridays, it's gutting and fixing branches.
And how were you, was it still kind of a commission-based thing?
Yeah, it was still a commission-based thing. So I would take a small commission based on a branch. If they hit a 6% ROI, then I could get a commission. So they had to be 6% profitable.
So totally incentivized to gut it and fix it right.
Yep.
And then it had to keep going for you to see any kind of return on
Correct.
that. Okay.
And I was good at that. And Linda was a good mentor. She would chastise me for everything I was doing wrong, but in a good way, in a motherly way.
Yeah.
So she was really my business mom that taught me everything about the mortgage business, kind of the correct way of how to underwrite, how to close a loan, how to fund a loan, how to do sales. And I got really good at it. I was doing $2.5 billion a year in production.
With all these offices that you had fixed, are you still getting commission on those?
Yep,
like a residual?
on all of them.
So it was a long-term play.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, so you work really, really hard to get everything up and going, and then you start getting the payoff. But that carrot was always right here. The boss is always saying, he's like, why aren't you doing more? I go, I'm working until midnight every day. He goes, well, don't you have two hands? Yeah, that's the way.
So that's how they
you're treated.
You.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then he would call me by my brother's name. I mean, I was there 17 years, and he'd call me Troy. I'm like, dude, you know how much money I've made? Can you not even know my name?
Yeah.
It's just one of those. I was just a chess piece in their kingdom.
Right. And it wasn't for your self-motivation.
Yeah.
And maybe Linda.
Yeah, and Linda. I was there. I loved Linda.
Yeah.
And I was there until Linda and I kind of left about the same time.
But your success wasn't because of some great leader.
No, Linda, I'd say
Linda,
was.
But
yeah.
The big guy was
They
not.
didn't care about you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
And you can only do that so long. Yeah.
And then I get that hard lesson that I still have not learned today.
Yeah.
The mortgage meltdown came about, and 2006, 2007, 2008 crashed the mortgage and real estate market.
And this is right in the middle, right when you got all these offices going. They're all going pretty good.
Everything's
and
going well.
Everything goes
all
away.
of a sudden, the company loses $1 million in 1 month, and
because nobody's getting loans, nobody's building houses.
Correct.
The interest
foreclosures are up the roof.
Yeah,
all the fraud out there. Builders have all these spec houses, like, I don't know, they're underwater on these houses. Mm-hmm. And then they say, Russ, now you're the bad guy. Go knock doors and take back keys. And I want you to consolidate all the branches. I want you to take those 30 branches and take it down to 12.
To cover that same geographic area.
Yep, you can have one branch in Utah, one in Florida, one in Texas. If they don't do this, they're not profitable, then you fire all of them. So then I was the gut and fix guy of all that. And we did. Within 30 days, we went from $1 million loss to $1 million profit.
In how many days?
30.
Just by going out, shutting down offices, removing overhead, consolidating.
Changing margins, changing fees.
And Security National was still they weren't connected to that whole banking meltdown. They were independent of that.
Yeah, a little bit though, but we're still scared because
Yeah.
every single day there's this thing called Implodometer that is the live website. You can see which mortgage companies are shutting down every single day.
What banks are shutting down.
Yeah,
what
and
mortgage
I'm going
companies
after their loans and their people. I mean, I'm watching like, oh, okay, well, this competitor just went down. I'm gonna go find the best of the best of that operation, or those sales guys. So you're
and
trying
really
to
they were
pick up.
positioned pretty good because as mortgage companies and banks grow out of business, people still need loans.
Yeah,
They still need.
you still had to figure out how to
if you could
funnel it.
survive that.
And that's what we did. And
Yeah.
we're like, we have to out-survive the competition.
Yeah.
And there's others trying to outcut you in price and because they're trying to survive. So it was a rough time to be in that business.
Yeah.
Like crazy time. And you know that you're kind of in the
we got
middle of
caught
that.
in the middle of it. Yeah, totally.
And so here I am consolidating everything. And now I had 138 these wholesale reps working under me. And I'm like, what do we do? They're all starving. They're not doing the volume. They're all 100% commission too. So I said, let's turn them into recruiters and go get the best of the loan officer brokers and turn them into net branches.
Right.
Go
and
back
say,
into retail.
we still have a company that's viable.
My history was being a net branch. I'm like, we can now go bring them all to be branches.
Because some of these guys out there their banks went out of business.
Yeah, and they don't know what to do with their loans.
And
They're
they
still,
have loans where
they
they
still
can
have
put 'em.
business.
Okay, great.
So
Great
we
idea.
did. We brought on like 1,000 in 18 months, 1,000 loan officers.
And that was another one of your initiatives.
Yeah, to go fix that, put it together. How do you structure it? How do you do marketing for all of them? How do you make sure?
Yeah.
And at the same time, we brought in this one group. That was one of our brokers. And the guy running it went to the owner of the company and said, I want to buy $2 million of stock, but I want Russ's job. And
Okay.
that's where that's where it kind of got ugly a little bit for me.
Because you didn't have any kind of a contract.
I had a contract.
You did,
Yeah.
but this guy,
He was a bully.
$2 million.
Yeah, he called me up and says, Russ, you give me your branches, I'll kill you. He actually said that.
really,
And yeah, I called the state of Utah and they go, you're a white 40-year-old male, what are you going to do about it? I called our HR and they said, I don't know what you want us to do about it. He was just a bull
Well, I
in
would
a
like to
china
not get
cabinet.
killed.
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't want
so they took his $2 million
Yeah.
because they needed the money for,
yeah, whatever.
and you were gone.
And well,
Or,
so
oh, wait a minute, there's more to the story.
yeah, I didn't leave the company all the way. So I did. I gave him all my branches. So now he was the vice president over all production.
All the work you had done.
Yep, he just
handed it over.
Yeah, he took over all my branches. So I decided, well, I still like the company. I don't think this guy's going to last. In my head, this guy is going to be short-lived. They're going to see his true colors. He'll leave.
And
They'll need a good guy to keep it going. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go find office space. So I was sitting in corporate and I'll just go start over from scratch.
as a net
Yeah, so I started hiring. Oh, I think our battery died.
Yeah.
So I started hiring. What I do, just started recruiting. So I hired a couple of branches in Oregon and Washington and Utah and Arizona, and I started to open up branches. So I opened up like 9
And
branches.
Security National was still going to be the bank, the mortgage company.
Yep.
And now you just were like, okay, I'm going to start over and build up a whole
Another
deal.
region,
A whole other
basically.
region, yeah.
And Paul didn't like that, so he started.
Paul's the guy that forced you out?
Yeah,
Okay, Paul.
yeah. I guess we could say his name.
Paul.
Yes,
Just Paul.
just Paul. So he started calling my employees and said, hey, I'll pay you more if you work for me instead of Russ. So he started soliciting all my employees. Yeah, and I called him on it. I go, Paul, why don't you just go recruit? There's thousands you could go recruit. You don't need to poach internally. And then the leadership was like, well, Russ, if they want to work for you, they'll work for you. If they want to work for Paul,
So they would not even
they
get
wouldn't even support
they
that.
just didn't
Yep.
even, they couldn't, wow.
Yeah, and I was like, really? You're okay with them just poaching? Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. He'd call my underwriters, my closers, offer more money. He'd offer my branches more money. I'll pay you more, give you better this. And finally, he got to one of my guys, one of my right-hand guys that was going to help me with operations and stuff, and said they started meeting on the side and trying to find a way to get the top of the company to support Paul, to remove me and let this other guy take over all of them, and they succeeded. They called me in the office on a Saturday and said, all right, Russ, we could fire you, or you could resign and we'll give you, a couple of months severance.
Because we're going to fire you and take everything you built again.
Yeah.
So this is like the third time they took what you built?
Yeah.
Once was kind of friendly.
Yeah.
the second one wasn't so friendly.
No.
And now the third time, they're going to take everything you built.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, we can fire you
Or
quit,
you quit.
and we'll give you a little severance.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here I am on a Saturday, just being blindsided by
On a
this.
Saturday?
Yeah, on a Saturday. They're
And
on
your
their
brother
way.
there wasn't there to rescue you
No,
on this one.
and I didn't call him on it, which I probably should have. You know, he was always there for me in
Yeah.
time of need. And
Because the higher ups were totally 100% loyal to Paul.
Paul, yeah, they're in Paul's back pocket.
Yeah.
And they didn't like I was trying to bluff on Paul on a few things. You know, he was doing things that were in the gray that
And Paul didn't like you. No doubt.
not at all.
No question about it.
He was I was a threat to him.
Yeah, so he was trying to
And
find ways
I had to be all the way out. He actually already got rid of Linda, or he got rid of Denise. Like,
Was he involved in pushing them out too?
yep, yeah, he was.
Okay. And so you were just another.
So I was the next. So he kind of had his hit list, and a few people shared it with me, like, hey, Paul doesn't want any of the old people
He
here
actually
that
had
ran
a
everything.
list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
I was on it, and so I did. I was like, okay, I guess I'll take the severance, you know, and I'll figure out what I'm going
At
to do.
least you walk away with something.
Yeah. Well, I thought.
You thought. Yeah.
So he's an attorney too, and his
Paul
son's
is?
no,
Oh, the owner.
the owner.
Yeah.
and his son's an attorney, and they're the two that were in this meeting. So I'm thinking, okay, you guys are attorneys. Okay, we handshake. What you're saying you're going to do, because you're doing the right thing. So 2 weeks go by, I call HR, and they said, I go, hey, I haven't seen a check or anything. They said, yeah, he came down and said, don't pay Russ. So there's no severance too. Yeah. So
Okay.
and I'm like, holy crap. And I was this guy that was all in. I didn't even have another email address. My Netflix account was Russ at Security National. I mean,
Everything was
my
that.
bank account, everything.
Yeah.
Because I just thought, why ever have another email address? You have
Yeah.
one, that's good enough.
Yeah.
So I had to go get a Gmail. I had to go get, change my passwords. Everything, all my passwords were SNMC. They were,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I was all in with the company. I mean, I didn't think of anything else.
Yeah.
So I had this attorney out of Texas call me. And in Texas, when you close loans, instead of title companies, you also have an attorney firm that reviews all the documents. And I had done a lot of business with this guy. His name's Scott Valby. And he says, hey, Russ, I've been thinking, do you want to open up a mortgage company with me? I said, man, that would be awesome. And so he goes, all right, fly out here. Let's get this up and going. I have the operations people, pay you a small salary to get up and going and an override. And, let's do this together. And then last company started, they got scared and they started sending me these threatening attorney letters.
Security National.
Yeah.
Because they heard you were getting back
non-compete.
into
Yeah,
the
so I was
mortgage
getting back
business.
into it. So now they wanted me to sign a non-compete after I left.
Yeah, yeah.
But-
After the fact.
But now I work for an attorney firm that had 14
he's
attorneys, and
reading
he's
that and
loud.
going,
He's
"No."
like, I got you, Russ. Don't
Of course,
worry.
And you're like, whew, okay.
Yeah, don't worry about
Yeah,
this. I'm
okay.
like, oh, okay, because that made me panic. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, my gosh, I'm getting.
Yeah, they're going to scare you.
They're
And
scaring
then
me
after the fact, they
to
want you to
sign
sign
something.
Yeah, okay.
So I took 28 branches with me.
You did. You're gone. You called them up.
Yeah,
And, they're like,
and
"We
they all
called the-"
started calling me and like,
Yeah.
Russ, what's going
Where are we
on?
going?
I go, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I did. I opened up 28 branches in 18 months and trying to get this mortgage company up and going. That's the good, and then there's the bad.
Okay.
The bad part
So you
is
build it up.
I started building
it's
up.
working.
We're
It's going.
We're getting up and going.
Yeah.
Scott's,
This is after the whole
Yeah.
meltdown. Things are coming
Yeah,
back.
Scott's funding this. It's going. We're getting up and going. Well, he was the attorney for lots of mortgage companies of doing the reviews, and some of his big clients started calling him up and saying, "Hey, Scott, are you our competitor. Or are you our attorney?"
Mm-hmm.
And that scared him because he's 60 years old now, and his firm is well known. And he's like, "Oh,
And that's his bread and butter.
that's his bread and butter. That's where
Yeah.
all his money is."
Yeah.
So he sold the company. And this was on
The company that you built.
this
Okay.
was on Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving. I get on this call with this new company that wants to buy it. And they want me to introduce them to all the branches. I do the big intro thinking, okay, it is what it is. We'll merge with this other company.
You
and
still got your job.
yep.
You're thinking this will
And
just.
then I get the call after the call and said, "Well, thank you, but we don't need a vice president.
We already have one. So again,
Yeah, and I had Linda Richardson now working for my old boss.
so she's working for you.
Yeah, and her
you're-
son is, and all as much of my favorite
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
that have worked with me. So yeah, I'm like, what in the world? So then I go back into panic mode again.
Because once again, the rug
Yeah.
gets ripped out from underneath
Yeah,
you.
you're like, what do I do?
And you didn't benefit from that sale.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm back to
Square one.
doing another company. So I found this company out of Minnesota. They're the biggest mortgage company in Minnesota. And the owner, Todd's like, I want to grow outside of Minnesota. And Russ, I hear you know how to do that. And I'm like, yeah, I do.
Just
And
did it for
yeah.
4 other times.
Yeah,
No problem.
yeah.
I can do
I'm
another
like,
one.
yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
And so I get on board and I start, and there was some internal, their operations and the owner, both kind of ownership. They never saw eye to eye. Todd would say, grow, grow, grow. And Jennifer would be like, stop, stop, stop. We don't want any more. It's too fast or too, I'm like, Todd, I'm paid on commission. I need to know, do you want to grow or not grow?
Because that changes how you approach
Yeah,
things.
yeah. I need to know what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, that's not going to work for me if you don't want to grow. And Jennifer was scared to grow. So there was this internal. I'd get a call from Todd, yes. Then I'd get a call, no, don't listen to Todd. and so I brought on like 9 branches and all this internal stuff is still going on. I'm like, oh, this is chaos. And then so I leave and go to another mortgage company. So it was actually interesting. I was trying to recruit this branch in Las Vegas that worked for this new next company, and I was trying to get her to come, work for me.
With the Minnesota
Yeah,
company.
yeah. And I said, "What do you love about this place?" She goes, "Russ, there's really not anything I really need different." I'm like, God, that's so weird to hear. So all of them have something, that's not great. And the owner found out I was trying to poach, a few of his people, and called me up and said, "What are you doing, Russ?" I go, "Just doing what I do, grow and find problems." And
do what I do.
he goes, "Why don't you come meet with me?"
Did you know this guy?
No, I actually didn't.
Okay.
So I went and met with him, and seemed like a really good guy, and had this small mortgage company in Bountiful, Utah. And he goes, "What do you want to do?" And I go, "I love growing things. I love finding friends and people that are in a bad situation that don't have the right setup and create what they need, to be successful." And he goes, "Why don't you do it here?" I go, "Well, let's come to an agreement."
An agreement.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Let's do a contract.
Uh-huh.
And this time, I think I'm being really smart. I put in this contract actually a salary plus double the basis points I've ever made anywhere else.
All right.
Thinking I'm just going to be a little bit on the selfish side.
Yeah.
Of
This time
this.
build it so it
Yeah,
works.
so I actually get something from this, and I'm doing it. I'm hiring people and growing it, expanding it, and mortgage business keeps having these, ups and downs. So downs, he would come to me, "All right, Russ, I need cut out some overhead or this or that," and generous, always being a leader, you always start with yourself. So I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll cut my salary, I'll cut my basis points from 20 to 10, and then I went down to 7.5, and I'd always cut myself. I never felt like you don't cut others without you being a leader of doing it.
Sure.
So I kept doing that, but then kept growing him. I brought in more and more people. I grew it to like 38 branches, and hired almost every employee except for like 3 of
Okay.
his. And it's going well. I'm enjoying it. I feel like we're on the same page. And at the same time, 2017 is when ghost boards kind of came about.
Uh-huh.
So I wanted something to do also with my kids as a hobby. I didn't really have any hobbies. I've been so focused on mortgage and that life, nothing else mattered. And I thought, I need something of exercise or doing something. So I bought a board on Amazon, and I hated it. I didn't ride well. It was junk. And my neighbor, Brent, said he just cut out this piece of acrylic skateboard for his son at his work, and then put some wheels and trucks on it, and his son rode over to my house. And I saw it, and I'm like, Eric, what is that thing? And Eric is his son that was friends with my son,
Yeah.
Caden. And he goes, yeah, my dad just made this and cut out the shape of a skateboard.
Yeah.
I go, can I try it? And I love the feel of it. It had a lot of flex to it. It was smooth. It was clear. It was different. And so I went to Brent. I go, will you make me one of those? Well, he told me no for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This was going on from like 2011 up to like 2017.
Uh-huh.
So 4 years, told me no. He finally gave me one. Then I'm playing around with ideas of it. So I said, Brent, why don't we sell these? And he told me no for another 2 years. So my in with him, I said, all right, Brent, I have this thought. I go, I noticed your car's getting some miles on it. Do you want a new car? He goes, yeah, it'd be nice to get a new car. And I go, okay, how about if we sell those skateboards, I'll make you $400 and I'll make me $400 a month. And he said yes. I was like, yes.
No, and that'll be a car payment for a new
It'll
car.
be a car payment for a new car.
Yeah.
So I went home, sat on my couch, opened up a Shopify website. He came up with 10 designs. I threw them on there and just started doing a little marketing on them while I was riding around the one I had. And we started selling them. I was selling 3 of them a month, 10 a month. And it was everything. I just do them at night. So I would drive to Bountiful, do mortgage.
And you grew up riding skateboards.
Yeah, so this was fun.
So this
for
is
me.
cool.
Yeah, I'm
And then-
outside riding a skateboard.
And what did you
Still
know
in
about
there.
Shopify? Did you know anything about it? Or you just
Nothing.
thought,
I
"I'll just figure it
Googled
out"?
how to make a website.
So you built a website.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I guess I can figure this out. So it took me like 2.5 hours. Had this little Shopify website up and running. And in the meantime, I actually did own I skipped a business called Marketing Fruit. So Marketing Fruit, I learned how to build mobile apps and games. So I had a game called Billy Booger because my son was picking his nose. I thought, oh, this
Billy Booger.
Yeah, you flick boogers at your mom and dad and sister. And one called Kiss Mania, one called, Mad
Billy
Slam and
Booger.
Monster. Billy Booger, Booger Wars, and there's Booger Crush, kind of like Candy Crush.
Yeah, but boogers.
Yeah, there's 10 different boogers. So the green booger had
And
a
you
different.
line them up and they.
So if you flicked the green booger and it hit your cat or your mom, had a different effect if you use the bullet booger or the snail booger or there's 10 different boogers. A pizza booger, you know what I'm talking about. It looks like pizza, So I had all these cute little anime character
Checking my notes.
boogers. Yeah, which booger? Yeah, the snail booger's one that slowly runs down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had all these really cute
Boogers.
boogers.
Okay.
I even did a Riverton parade with my boogers and throwing out booger shirts and candy.
Where's the booger board? Do you have a booger board?
I actually do. It's
You
in
have
my
a booger
garage.
board?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a Billy Booger board.
Billy Booger booger board.
Booger board.
Billy Booger.
So I had this company called Marketing Fruit that I did on the side. I made my first app was a mortgage SMC calculator. It was a
Okay.
mortgage calculator.
There you go.
So I was doing stuff with it, building some apps.
Yeah.
So when I started Ghost Longboard, or actually it was still, I didn't want to go license another. I didn't know. It was a hobby. So I used Marketing Fruit.
Okay.
Marketing Fruit. Then I did a DBA Ghost Longboard. I was using the same tax ID,
Yeah.
same.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah, just keep it simple. Who knows what this thing's even going to do?
Right.
And one less thing to worry about for accounting or taxes or
Yeah.
whatever. And it started doing better and better. And my mortgage boss knew that I had it. He thought it was really cool. I'd made some boards with the logo on it for awards. Yeah. I did some other little real awards out of acrylic for them, for the top guys. And they thought it was really cool to make some boards for it because it was just kind of a hobby.
Yeah.
And the hobby just kept getting bigger and bigger. To the point Brent started to get really kind of grumpy about this because I get it. He's at his job, and we were paying his company to use the machine, the CNC machines. So we'd pay them $5 a board to use the machines.
To cut them out.
Yeah,
and do all
but
the
he'd
things.
have to do it on his lunch break or before work or after work. So I was taking up all of his lunch break. I was taking up all of his after work, and he's getting home like at 7 o'clock at night, dropping these boards off of my doorstep. thinking, all right, Russ, here's some more. I'm like, hey, but you're making your $400.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm putting the rest of it kind of back into marketing and growing it. And our first big wow moment was at a neighbor that worked for Vivint. And he saw them. He's like, hey, why don't we get 150 of those for our sales guys? And I'm thinking, that is rad. Awesome. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
We'll do orange wheels and white, like,
looks like
put
Vivint,
your logo.
The sales bros are going to love
Yep.
them. Yeah.
And and Brent's like, how are we going to make 150 of these? That's a lot of material. Where are we going to get 150 wheels, 150 trucks, 150 bearings?
Yeah.
So I said, let's just figure it out. And so we did, and built them all out of my house, and had nephews and nieces and my kids all pushing bearings in.
Yeah, so you ordered all the wheels, ordered all the trucks, ordered all the bearings.
All in, and we delivered this, and we got this check for like $15,000. Like, whoa, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Look at the size of this check. We're like, this is so cool. And so we're like, I want to do that again. This aha moment that we could customize anything for anybody. It didn't have to be our designs. People could say, I want a butterfly on it. I want a mermaid on it. I want a dragon on it. And we started opening that up, and people are sending over in their tattoos, like, can you do this?
Really?
Yeah, our dragon was based on this girl's tattoo on her back. And
she wanted a board to match.
Yeah, and then skeleton fingers touching. It was someone else's tattoo. And so it really is a lot of tattoo artwork or company logo stuff that started coming over.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, this is going pretty good. And even the company that we were paying $5 a board to, they became one of our biggest customers. They said, why don't we order 300 of these for our customers with our logo on it? And
this is the company Brent works for.
Yeah,
And he's hammering them out.
Yeah, and they're paying us, and we're paying them.
Yeah.
So they're getting a little bit of a
But it's
discount.
just a cool, it's cool. Yeah.
So actually, one of our boards are named after their company, called the Web.
Really?
So their company is called Web. So one of our patterns we named after them because they came up with it.
Yeah, cool.
We still sell today. So it's the Web design. And it's called Web Audio was their company.
Okay.
So we're cranking out boards and doing it at night, having fun, and just slowly watching weird things pop up like that. These bigger orders or something would come about. And then there was this thing called TikTok that was brand new. It was transitioning to TikTok. It was called something else where kids would dance to music and they would just show off, and adults weren't allowed on it. It was only for kids. And then TikTok, I think, changed the name or bought out. But it was kind of this thing I was told, if you're over 30, you're not allowed to be on it.
On the TikTok.
Yeah, on the TikTok. And so I didn't have it downloaded. I didn't really quite know what it was. I've seen, one of my kids, seeing some people dance to
Okay, so
a
I'm going to
video.
pause for a second. Where are we at in the mortgage situation at this point? Is this?
It's going really well.
But the ghost boards is still a side hustle.
Yeah, still a side.
Mortgage. You built this mortgage company for Bountiful Guy.
Yeah, I'm running everything on
Things
it,
are
running
going pretty good over there.
operations, sales,
Yeah,
going
okay.
really well. I'm making money.
And how long ago was this? What year was this approximately?
So, 2000. I think I started 2016 or 15.
When you started doing this with Brent.
Yeah. This was still, when I started that mortgage company, this was still in that concept phase.
Yeah, okay. Hasn't really
So
quite.
almost they kind of grew up together in a way. And they kind of
so
paralleled.
The TikTok thing is what, now where are we on the timeline?
So this was 2020, right
so
during
2020,
COVID.
okay.
So mortgage again takes a hit and COVID.
Because heaven forbid anyone go outside or go around people or
But buying houses, selling, moving trucks, all that stuff.
everything just went weird,
Yeah, and so I'm trying to save the mortgage company at the same time too. It's chaotic. I'm back into cutting my pay to cutting stuff to. He asked me, hey, can you buy some of these mortgage notes, hold on to them for 6 to 9 months before we scratch and dent? So I am. I'm taking my 401k money and buying.
So money that you've made, you're putting back.
Yeah,
to help
I'm buying mortgage notes, save his company because because the warehouse line is going to cut him off if we don't take this note back. So I'm like, all right, give me, 9% interest, and I'll hold it until we can figure it out. So I'm now his side bank.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it because he's a
this
good
is
guy.
your guy. You're doing it.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
having fun. I'm building this company, and
Yeah.
my goal is eventually when he retires, maybe I buy him,
Yeah.
buy it out. And,
Yeah.
so I've hired everybody there,
Yeah.
just about. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, whatever. So I'm putting
So you're putting money back.
put
How much money did you
money-
put back in?
several times. I mean, so I'd buy one mortgage note, then that would pay off. Then I'd buy another one, and then, so I was slowly kind of doing things like that, while trying to keep it all afloat and keep the P&Ls running and cut my own pay or whatever.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, Ghost Boards has this viral TikTok moment. There's a girl named Maddie, and she's in Ohio. She buys a board with a butterfly on it and does this TikTok. She's
Butterfly.
Yeah, she's a senior in high school.
Yeah.
She buys a big 48-inch Pintail.
Orders it online.
Yep, orders it
through
online.
your Shopify website.
Yep. And we send it out, and she's got maybe a couple hundred followers of friends from high school. And TikTok just grabs it and wants to show it to everybody. I don't know why.
She's showing off her new butterfly board.
Yeah, she goes, hey, guys,
Look what I
I'm
got.
Maddie. I just bought this Ghost board. I'm going to show you. I'm a first-time rider. I'm going to show you how it works. Lays it down, rides it, and then she does video 2. Hey, I'm Maddie. This is a Ghost board. I got the butterfly design. And 50 million people see it.
No kidding.
I mean, so all of a sudden my phone, the Shopify app on your phone, has a ka-ching on an order.
Every time someone puts an order
Yeah.
in.
So you always have the volume. It sounds
Yeah,
cool.
because every once in a while you get a cha-ching.
Yeah, you're like, oh, sweet,
awesome.
I got
Yeah.
one today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, one day, is May 29th of 2020, it goes ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. It would not stop.
And you're thinking, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, Brent calls me. He's like, Russ, my app, is it broken? Something broken?
It's cha-chinging.
Yeah. I go, I don't know. He goes, did we get a virus? I go, I don't have a clue. Brent, let me find out. My daughter comes home from school, says, Dad, you see that TikTok? I go, tic-tac? Tick what?
You're an old guy. You have no idea.
Yeah. And so she shows it to me, this Maddie girl. I reach out to her. I go, what in the world happened? She goes, I don't know. It's going crazy. People, thousands of comments, thousands of likes. I mean, it's just going insane. Well, we get the first day, there's like almost 600 orders in one day.
No kidding.
And Brent calls me and says, Russ, how are we going to make 600 boards?
I mean, previously 150 was a lot.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know, but isn't it kind of cool? I'm still in La La Land. Thinking,
Was it all the same board, or somebody they went to your
no,
website?
everything,
and
tons.
Just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and then the next day, the same thing. And then Brent called me yelling at me. He was angry, like mad. And he's like, you shut that website off now. And I'm like, okay. So I'm getting on the website, trying to say everything's out of stock. Everything's,
Right, because that's
as fast as I could do it, they're finding something that I missed. Or
cha-ching, cha-ching,
yeah,
cha-ching.
they're still finding something. Like, that was gone. I'm like trying to eliminate all stock out of it, and it's still going ka-ching, ka-ching, and he's freaking out. I'm freaking out. He comes over to my house that night, and he's like, Russ, there's like 1,000 orders. What are we going to do? And I said, make them. I go,
That's a good answer.
I said, I don't know. They're all going to ask for their money back or something. I go, I don't know, Brent.
What an opportunity.
Yeah.
You can't,
I don't know what we're going to do, though. But I was kind of freaking out inside. Like, I don't know how we're actually going to pull this off. I still have a full-time job. He has a full-time job. And I call this guy named Alan Wong out of Riverside, California, out of all places.
Yeah.
And he owns a skateboard distribution company. So he sells skate decks, wheels, trucks, bearings. I go, Alan, I'm in a bind. He goes, yeah, I saw.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He goes, I heard, I saw. I go, he goes, turn your website back on. I got you covered. He goes, I'll make sure you get all your wheels and trucks, your bearings. He goes, I got you covered. I know where to find everything for you. I go, okay. So I went back to Brent. I go, okay, Alan says.
We got that, but that's only like this. You still have to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Brent's wife came over. So they're both sitting on my couch with my wife, and we're having this confrontation, a little bit of
He's
tension.
freaking out. Yeah.
And I said, Brent, I think we ought to do this. How much do you make at your job? I go, quit your job. I think we ought to do this.
Wow.
And, so I need his wife there to talk about it. I go, this
Yeah.
is what you're making. This is how much we have sitting in the bank right now, today.
Just from this one little.
Yeah, order.
And it's not going to stop.
Yeah.
You're thinking it's
Yeah,
just going to be cha-ching,
I'm
cha-ching,
thinking,
cha-ching.
okay. He goes, okay, let's think about that. Let me see. I go, can you get me acrylic? I can get the wheels and trucks. I can get kids to come help
Put it
assemble
together.
boards.
Your slave labor.
And I go, let's see what happens this week. You put in your 2-week notice. He went and talked to his boss. I flipped the website back on, and we did like $1 million in sales in 30 days. It was like 965,000.
Wow.
Good and bad problem again. Now we have all this money sitting in the bank.
Because they're putting in deposits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're saying, when am I going to get my board?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So my wife's like, okay. So she went to work and she went and found 4 other machine shops that had CNC machines, just like the one Brent was used to using. And she went over and committed. She goes, can you make us 100 boards a day? Can you make, because this is COVID, they're also all hurting.
Right.
So this was perfect timing.
Oh,
These
yeah,
machine
'cause they
shops
needed
were
that.
stressed.
They want to turn on their machines.
They want to turn on their machines.
And you're all of a sudden coming out of
She's
nowhere.
she's like, I need a commitment of 100 boards. And go the next one. I need a commitment. So we had one shop in Ogden, one in Pleasant Grove,
So
one
how
in
many
America
boards
Fork.
was it, this initial order?
Oh, we
I
had
mean-
over 6,000 orders that need to be fulfilled,
Wow.
and the website wasn't stopping.
It was just still cha-ching.
Yeah, it was ka-chinging.
Yeah.
It was average of $25,000 to $40,000 a day of orders.
Are you kidding?
And so we committed, and then we even committed Brent's company to let us hire somebody at night and weekends to use their machine.
And keep their machines
And
going.
keep their
And
machines
they're-
running.
that's money for them.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So we had all this commitment. I go, okay, we have that. I have a commitment of wheels and trucks. So my nephew just got married, and I go, all right, I'll give you $500 if you drive down to Riverside in your pickup truck. And if you can be back in 24 hours, there's a $500 bonus. Here's a check for
So
20
a
grand.
truckload of
Wheels and
parts.
trucks and parts. And I got on the phone with some China factories and everything. I get, guys, this is what I need. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I found a great partner over there. Her name's Lucy. She's my supplier today.
Nice.
With parts. And I found, and then Brent got on the phone and cleared out all the acrylic in the United States, from Chicago west. He was calling every acrylic.
Of this material, this 3/4 inch,
Yep,
whatever
he
it
was
is.
calling everybody. So he even called Mexico. The Mexico stuff was rough. We had some of it that had like bugs still inside of it. It was actually really kind of
bug
cool.
board.
I know.
Yeah.
I actually wish I would have kept
Yeah.
a sheet of that. Actually, today it'd be really kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'd fly it.
Yeah.
We were cleaning out. If you had acrylic, we were buying all. We'd say all. How much do you want? All.
Really?
So we were. So this time, I hired 20 kids, and all the neighbors pitched in. I had 3 pop-up tents in my driveway, 20 kids in the garage. I had 10 women at my kitchen table printing labels. UPS and FedEx were both sitting on my couch teaching everybody how to make labels.
And you're
to
just
do shipping.
from out of your house, you're doing
Yeah.
this.
Oh, and then the living room had another 10 people. So we had almost 50 kids working out of my house. I don't have a big house. So the end of the day, at the end of the night, I pull everything into the garage and behind the fence.
Yeah.
Because I had like a RV area.
Yeah.
I put tarps in case it rained over everything outside and pull it all in at night. And then I'd be still working, trying to organize to like 2, 3 a.m.
And then we still have the mortgage company going.
Yeah. Still have the mortgage company going. So I called my right-hand guy, Ken. I go, Ken, I'm in a bind. I need a couple weeks to get some of this stuff organized. If any big problems come up, you call me. I'll handle it. So everybody kind of knew I had this thing kind of going.
That all of a sudden just went crazy.
Yeah, so I go, I got to get this organized, but I'm always available. You can call me. So Ken would take care of a majority of my problems and handle most of it, then call me and say, Russ, how do you want to handle this? And then
Right.
I'd just do the 10,000-foot level problems.
And he was a good guy. He
Oh, yeah,
was capable.
we're still best friends,
Yeah.
and he had my back through. He had worked for me now for a couple companies, too.
Yeah,
So
okay.
he's always that guy
Yeah.
to have my back.
Okay, so then now So this whole thing happened in 2020.
Yeah.
Just blew up.
So June, all June, summertime was perfect because 1,000 kids could come over to my garage.
Yeah.
I had pizza delivered every single day.
And they're just putting
Yeah,
together boards.
and I had Mountain Dew and pizza and Dr. Pepper every single day.
That's all they wanted, yeah.
I had
And a little money.
two fridges out in the
Yeah.
garage, and then I was Venmoing everybody, which my wife's like, we gotta put people on payroll. They got to be 16.
Ugh.
These 10-year-olds can't be doing this.
Why ruin it?
I know.
Come on.
This has to be
Yeah.
real. So I need to get the business out of the house because the house was now getting trampled. The carpet was getting ruined. Things were getting hit.
Yeah.
The railings were banged. I mean, my house was really getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And so she went and found me a warehouse. She's in real estate. So I'm like, okay. She found this 8,000. I was looking at these little spaces like, oh, this one would be big enough.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, no. Where are you going to put everything? I'm like, oh, there's plenty. It's bigger than our garage,
Yeah.
So she got this huge 8,000 square foot warehouse. I'm like, what are we going to do with all this? She goes, well, you need a forklift. You need stuff. You need, like, okay. And we did. Now it's full. I mean,
Really?
Today we're out of room. Yeah, we're out of room in it.
And did it ever stop?
Yeah, it did.
It tailed off
So
a little bit.
so we and I wasn't doing any zero marketing budget, zero Amazon, zero email marketing, nothing. We just couldn't. We were trying to stop the business because we were making every mistake in the world. I had to get customers calling me up, said, "Hey, I just got 14 boards. I only ordered one." Or like, how'd you get 14? And because
That
you had
label.
the label process,
Yeah.
and then people are like, "Oh, I got the wrong one," and this person got that one, and
Yeah.
and
What a mess.
every
yeah.
mess you could
'Cause you weren't
possibly
ready
think
for
of.
this,
We were just chaos.
Mm-hmm.
No systems into place. We could crank out the boards, but we didn't know what we're doing. Just ship it. Just get them what they want.
Yeah.
Just ship them 5 more. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I know people did get probably a dozen and never let us know too.
Right.
So
Gave them to all their friends for Christmas.
yeah.
Yeah.
it did. That entire year, so in 6 months from June to December, we were cranking out 300 to 400 boards a day. I mean, we're running the machines from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. We
Really?
had 3 shifts of employees. We had, we basically it was our life. It was everything.
Yeah.
And so I had to get kind of back in the mortgage business. So I hired a warehouse manager, a bunch of different managers, start controlling this.
Mm-hmm.
3 people to handle the 600 emails a day.
Yeah.
Asking where their order is.
Yeah.
And so I still got my, I've been in mortgage now 30 years. I can't just walk away
Right.
for this. I don't know. I was unsure. So Brent was full time. I had plenty of people there full time. I hired my brother-in-law to run the night shift as the manager because I still got to run the mortgage business. So I'm still trying to do a little bit of both. I'm running mortgage from 8 a.m. to about 3, and then trying to work from 3 to midnight.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of
Yeah,
keep things
yeah.
running smooth and balance all of that. It was crazy. So that went through the rest of the year of cranking out like $4.5 million of boards in 6 months, which was
really?
crazy. Yeah.
What started off to be, we could make $800 a month and make a few bucks, and
That
we'll
was
sell a few boards. It'll be fun.
So I said, Brent, we'll pay ourselves. How about $5 a board that sells? I want to motivate him to let it keep growing. So I go, that's $5 a board, just like we did, your company. I go, that sounds like a cool idea. It's something that would be fun. And the next year, continued just as strong. 2021 was a great year. Still trying to organize. We're buying forklifts and machinery and,
And you're still doing mortgages?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. Still doing both, but it's pretty organized at this point where both companies were pretty organized. Both of them
So you're able to go back and forth, and it's working.
Both of them are happy. Both of them are getting everything they need out of me, and I'm available to everybody on all of it because my wife was running accounting there, and all my kids are working there. We opened up a retail store at the Traverse Mountain outlets. My daughter's running that, and everything's going pretty well, and we still haven't spent a dime in marketing.
You haven't?
No,
It's all still part of that?
all part of still that residual, TikTok.
No
So,
kidding.
Yeah, I was spending maybe $500 a month on Google ads. That was it.
Okay, so now we're 2026.
Yeah.
You're not doing mortgages.
No.
So if I remember you telling me
What happened to that?
you had another little
Yeah,
situation.
another punch in the face.
Another punch in the face. The rug got pulled out from
Yep.
underneath you for the 5th time.
Yep. So it's a sad story. My boss, again, mortgage has its ups and downs, came to me, hey, Russ, it's rough times again. In 2024, rates just went up to like 7%.
Yeah.
And so
Coming out of the low.
what does that do? So I'm cutting. So he says, so HR gave me a list of everyone's salaries. I'm like, okay, if I cut out, he goes, I need to cut out $130,000 of salaries. How are you going to do it? Okay, I'll let this one go, let this one go. I'll cut all these people by 30%.
Here you are, you're the cut and fix guy.
Yep. So I'm doing all that. Then he asked me, hey, can I borrow more money too? So until we can kind of get through this. So he says, can I borrow $250,000? And I say, sure. So he knows I had ghost boards, and lucky I did, because I had some money too. And so I lend him the money, and then I have a home situation that happens. Mm-hmm. I have a son that's in high depression, anxiety, suicide. He's up at college at Utah State, and
you've got to jump in and
check
out for a minute to work on this. This is a big deal.
My daughter, so we bought a house up there that he was living in, and my daughter was living in while going to college together, and she called and said, you need to come and get Caden. He needs help.
Yeah.
So we go up there, and we know we can't bring him back to the old neighborhood. The same, people ask him questions, they'll see him, and the anxiety will go out of the roof. Same bedrooms. We need a change. We've been in our house like 17 years now, and I remodeled it after ghost boards. So he said, we just need something. My other son is a senior, going to be a senior in high school, but he goes, I need to finish at Lone Peak because all my friends are at, because we're thinking go down to Mapleton or go somewhere. So I said, okay, we'll just go find a house down by Lone Peak temporarily, figure it out.
So this situation in your life is like you need to focus on it.
Yep.
You end up moving.
Yeah,
so you can.
Yeah, so I go to him, I go, hey Garrett, I need you to put me on a salary for a couple months so I can qualify for a mortgage, because I write off everything. I've been commissioned. My taxes are, but if I'm back on a salary, it shows for 3 months.
It makes it easier to qualify for a loan.
And I said, okay, you put me on this salary, and he goes, no, I'm not going to do that, but I'll give you this salary. And I said, well, if you do this salary, not that salary, I need to ask for my money back so I can put more down, so I'll qualify. Otherwise, I'm not going to qualify.
Yeah.
And he stops talking to me. And his accountant, so I send in a new agreement to be signed.
Yeah.
A salary, no more commission. And I said, okay, when we're done, 3 months in the house, I'll go back to being commission.
And the salary you wanted wasn't any more than he was paying you already with commission.
No, so what I said,
I go,
at the end of 3 months, so I'm in the house, all that, we'll reconcile. If I owe you money, pay you back.
Based on commission versus salary.
Yeah. And
so you're not asking for anything more than you've already been making.
And I said, then you'll reconcile with me if the commissions exceed what the salary is. He goes, okay. Verbally, everything sounded very good. I was like, dude, I've been with you 7 years.
Yeah.
7 years with this guy, building this company. We talked every day. Every day. There was a day we didn't talk. And then all of a sudden he stopped talking to me. His CFO sent me back, my money, paid me back. So I bought the house. I move in. I send a message back to CFO and him. I go, okay, put me back on my contract. I want my 7.5 bips.
Your commission.
Because I calculated it was going to be like $38,000 commissions.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd rather be on that than
Yeah.
this
Yeah. So you just want to go
little
back to the way it
salary.
was
Yeah.
before.
And he says, no. He goes, no, we're not going to do that. And he goes, in fact, all the branches you're getting paid on are no longer yours.
Oh, he did not do that to you.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
So this is like Groundhog Day.
And you can, yeah, it is. And you can start over again. And he goes, I'll keep the salary with you till the end of the year. And this was August, September, I think about September.
Of what year?
Of 2024.
So just a little over a year ago.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I'm like, okay. I go, that doesn't work for me. I brought all these branches with me. They're all mine.
Yeah, you built all that business.
Yeah. And
This is like
I'm
Groundhog Day.
and I'm running all the company calls. So every Monday I have the corporate call with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my right hand guy. And then I have it with operations. I was running the all company call every Thursday. Every employee get on Teams, and I ran it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I was cut off on all those meetings.
You were.
Yeah, just all of a sudden.
Like this uninvited you to all those meetings.
Yeah, all of them. And I'm like, okay. So
Wow.
I drive up there and go see him face to face. I go, this isn't cool.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, you don't think about my business while in the shower. So he said to me, you think about ghost boards in the shower. I go, that's kind of weird that you're talking about what I do in the shower.
Yeah.
And I go, Garrett, have I ever shown I'm not all in on this company? I lent you money anytime you've asked. Anytime.
Yeah.
Have I ever not given you money anytime you've been in a bind? Have I not brought every employee here? And he goes, no, we're just not doing this. You know, and that was it. I was done.
So one more time.
Yeah.
In your world of the mortgage business. You
And
built
it was
up-
me. I changed the contract and yeah, and how he even ended that one because he could just let me go and say, you know, the branches are no longer yours. So I don't learn. It is Groundhog's Day for me. Everything I do. So Ghost Boards, you know, is like, yes, it's still, you know, all my kids have worked there. It's been a lot of fun. It's been great, but also skateboard business or all businesses have its roller coaster. And we finally hit one of our downslopes too.
Okay.
And it's, you know, the business slowed way down where I'm like, oh my gosh, I probably ought to figure out how to do a Meta ad or a Google ad.
Or build somebody else's mortgage company so
yeah,
they can take it from
or
you.
go do that, yeah, or figure out what Amazon is and
Yeah.
start looking at how do I rebuild the skateboard company. So, because that whole last year, 23, I was revamping. We didn't have a logo of the company. I broke it off its own EIN number, you know, to be sit on its own. So I spent about a year and a half doing a cleanse of the company and moved it from a Shopify to WooCommerce.
So the Ghost Sports company.
Yeah.
Now you're starting to take it seriously,
Yeah.
make it legitimate.
Yeah, make it
Yeah.
sit on its own bottom.
Yeah.
No more marketing fruit, DBA,
Yeah.
Ghost Longboard, you know, like register the name, you know, all those
Make it
things, the
legitimate.
logo. Yeah, and so, yeah, my business adventures have always been, you know, this roller coaster of, you know, what do you do in moments of building other people's companies? And it's hard for me. And I've thought, you know, my wife's like, okay, why don't you sell Ghost Boards? Why don't we just move on to something different? You know, another chapter in our life. And so we've talked, I actually put the company up for sale.
Ghost Sports.
Yeah, last year,
Okay.
about 6, 7, 8 months ago. And I did. I brought in a guy. He bought 10% of the company. He wants to slowly maybe buy it out or something. And slowly kind of felt like, okay, this has been a lot on my shoulders. Trying to run 2 companies, all the financials on both companies. Really, I'm trying to keep the financials on both of them on my shoulders. And finally I said, maybe I ought to go be like a regular person and go work for somebody. I've never done it, really. You know, like not have the financial
Can you revive
obligations.
Global Chemical?
Yeah, bring back Global Chemical, you know. Like bring back something that I go work for somebody where all the financials not on my shoulders. And it's weird. I don't know. I found, I guess I don't qualify. I actually went on LinkedIn and I applied for almost 250 jobs. And I got 2 interviews. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, what are people afraid of on me? You know what? Why? It's weird. I want to exit mortgage. I maybe want to exit ghost. I just want to go do something without corruption or.
Okay.
And yeah, it's weird. So I did. I went and applied all like last year. I went and applied all these jobs and a couple people told me I'm overqualified and things like that. I'm like, I don't really care, you know. And so I am. I'm at this weird part of my life. I'm 54, thinking, okay, all my kids have moved on. One's got married, and none of them want to take it over. None of Brent's kids, they all moved on from the company too. You know, what do you do? What do you do with this company? Do I keep growing it? Do I sell it? Do I try something else? Do I ever do the morning? So my mind in this era, 2026, is what does a Russ do? I don't mind go getting a second job. I've always worked 2 jobs my entire life. And a lot of people always ask me, how do you work 2 jobs? Like, I don't know. I've done it since I was
you don't know anything
10
different.
years old.
Yeah.
And my mom always, that's all I've ever known is you work 2 jobs. So, my brother's like, well, come help me build my mortgage company.
Why not? And then he can just take it from you.
But he's bailed me out a lot. I know he wouldn't do that. He's the one guy I know, I could probably go build his company, and he wouldn't say, oh, we're not going to pay you, Russ. So, and I've thought about that. And I've thought, gosh, what do I do at this point? You build a company, you put your sweat and tears into a company. How do you exit? How do you exit a company? But I don't want the company to die. I want this to be a global company. It's in a bunch of stores right now. We're working on other stores, and it's wholesale. It does a lot of B2B, for companies. It does direct to consumer. It's a cool company, but my life had to be focused on my family for a minute, and still is. My son is really important to me, and he's. Every day is I'm hoping it's a good day. And that's most important to me. And I thought maybe if I just go work somewhere, it'd be easier for me to.
Like a 9 to 5, clock in, clock out.
Yeah, the 9 to 5.
Your life is more consistent.
Instead of me still on the weekend, he still sees me. I take off on Saturdays. I'm only one at the warehouse, still working on stuff, or still like I was on my computer till midnight last night, fixing some SEO or fixing the website or answering emails. Yeah. So I've always wondered, at what point do I just say, I ought to look for now, one of my ultimate goals would be, and I don't qualify. This is the sad part. Mm-hmm. So I went and taught a couple classes at UVU and saw the community. Yeah. They bring me in to come teach a marketing business class. Yeah. But I never graduated from college. And they said, well, we want you to come teach. We'll pay you to teach, but you don't have a degree. So, but I'm not a school person. That scares me more than anything to say I have to go get a degree. So, I'd love to be a business coach. I'd love to help businesses grow. I don't want to get punched in the face again. I don't want another Groundhog's Day. Yeah. But I don't know where I go for my life today. Yeah. 2026 is an interesting year for me. I'm doing nothing with mortgage right now, and it makes me want to throw up thinking about it. It does. I really do. I dry heave thinking about ever doing it again. Yeah. Even though I know I'm really good at it. Right. I just, every time I think, okay, I could go build another. Yeah. I could go build another person's. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. Business. This is what we're going to do. We're going to wind her down a little bit. Yeah. Because we've been here for a minute. Yeah. You can feel it in your seat, right? Yeah. Like these are 1 hour seats. Oh, I'm sorry. I went over, didn't I? There's there's a good story. There's a lot of good stories here, but here's what we want to do. We're going to wind it down, and we're going to end it with 3 questions. Okay. Okay. And your answer can be somewhat, okay. Short board. Yeah, I can do short. Okay. Number 1, you're sitting at this table across from the young Russ Warner, right? When he's just the 20-year-old, just gets home from his mission,
and he's getting ready to embark on his life journey. What piece of advice do you give him?
Write better contracts.
To help avoid Groundhog's Day?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, for real. And
That's a great one, yeah. Absolutely. That's
do
huge.
ironclad contract that you can't get taken advantage of.
Right, and I would add to it that it's really easy to write a strong contract when you like each other.
Yeah.
But after the relationship's gone south, it's too late. It's kind of like when
Yep.
Security National came to you and said, sign this non-compete
After I left.
they fired you.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a good lesson for young entrepreneurs, any entrepreneur. Like, it's hard because
It
you don't
is.
want to sit across the table from your partner who you like
and be so hard on
and
a contract.
hard line contract.
Yep.
But once again, it's much easier to do when you like each other, right?
Yep.
Because you're going to protect each other. And
It is.
and it's a two-way street. You're protecting each other. A good contract
Yep.
is two-way street. Okay. So that's great advice. Now, next one. You're sitting here across the table from a young 20-year-old nobody getting ready to embark on his entrepreneur journey. What are you going to tell him or her?
Go for it. Work your butt off. Just do it. Don't let anyone tell you you can't go build a business. If you don't know how to do it, you can learn. I didn't know how to do a skateboard business, a iPhone business, a lawn care business, a chocolate candy company,
Yeah.
a chemical company.
You just jumped in and went for it.
You just do it.
And you figure it
I
out.
don't like when people have excuse. Well, I don't know. YouTube it.
You can get anything on YouTube.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
Ask ChatGPT to write up a plan for you.
And it will.
Yeah, every time I don't know something, I just say, how do you build a website? Okay, this is how you do it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you do SEO? I didn't know what SEO stood for last year, but I'm pretty darn good at it now. Really good.
I didn't know what AI stood for a year ago.
I know, we
In
still
the last several, well, we don't, but the last several months, I've
Yeah.
put AI to work. It's
Yeah.
amazing what it can do.
Yeah, so if you don't know what Instagram is, TikTok, YouTube, just go do it. Go learn. You
That's
know,
good.
And just go connect with people. I always tell people, get on LinkedIn, connect with 20 people a day. The end of a couple of years, you'll have 20, 30,000 connections.
And you never know where it's going to go.
Yeah, get on Instagram. I post every day. Now I've got 400 and something thousand followers. I just post every day. Some go viral, some don't.
Okay, now,
Yeah.
the final question.
Okay.
Okay, knowing what you know now, 54-year-old man, right? You've had some experience. Like there's a lot of stories.
A lot of fun. A lot of fun,
a lot of experience. Would you do it over again?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's what makes me who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I love just work and connections and meeting people and the experiences. You can't trade that for reading that
Even
in a book.
even the bad days.
Oh, even
What
the
you
bad
learn
ones.
from those
yeah.
well, what you're supposed to learn from those bad
Yeah,
days.
what I'm supposed to learn. But I think back on them all the time. Like,
Yeah.
wow, that was one heck of a crazy situation.
Yeah.
From my brother getting punched to
That's amazing.
getting fired.
Yeah.
For doing your job.
Getting locked in a room, getting
Yeah.
fired, getting
Yeah.
Okay, well, Russ, we have to end.
Yeah, we
Okay.
do. And
But this is awesome.
We'll cut half of this out.
I don't think so. We don't do editing.
Oh, shoot.
No, we don't do editing. All we do is we plug in the intro, we plug in the outro, and it's going on.
So do we get a little Danny Elfman intro? with
Oh,
it?
Gainer,
Or ending?
can we do that? Little Danny
I
Elfman?
need a
We
little
might-
Danny Elfman in there.
But then we're gonna get sued,
Oh,
blah blah
okay.
blah blah.
All
We'll
right.
make our own little
Okay. Our
Danny
own little
Elfman,
fun.
and we'll
Okay.
we'll tweak it enough so we don't get in trouble.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Ghost boards. I guess just ghostboards.com.
Ghostboards.com.
And custom boards. I've seen some you've made for other companies. You put their logos on there.
Crazy,
Yeah, that's
from
cool.
Netflix to Pizza Hut to PlayStation, Liquid Death
To booger boards.
to booger boards to everything.
Okay. Well, Russ, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you sharing the story. See, we could do this
Yeah.
all day, huh?
I know.
Like we went to breakfast a couple weeks ago, and it was like
I-
2.5 hours.
And I told you, you probably won't get me to shut up.
There's
unless
some
you
good
just tell me.
stories. Oh, well, that's what we want to hear, though, right? We want to hear the real life deal. And
How
you
does
had
somebody
some
get
real
where
life.
how I got where I'm at.
Of course, some people are watching going, why in the hell did you do that again?
Yeah,
you
why
did
do
it
you keep
again?
doing it?
But wait,
I
one
like
more
the-
time.
My favorite movie is Groundhog's Day.
Groundhog
Duh.
Day, yeah, but one more,
Yeah.
one more.
Take it. I
Yeah.
can take one more punch.
One more
Come on,
punch.
let's
Okay.
do it.
Well, thanks, Russ. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.